Hi again, this is Irmina. Thank you for visiting. Today we're going to be talking about questions that I found myself continuously asking during this journey. It's not a journey about movement only, it's a journey about how do we maintain consistency over long periods of time. So this is a documentation of maybe a year-long journey. Could be longer, I don't know. And I may not have as frequent updates, but it'll be um, updated. But periodically, I come across things that I'm like, okay, I gotta sit and talk about this a little deeper. So I take some notes, and this is what uh, today is about. There were four questions, which I mentioned in the last video, which you probably should watch first, and that's basically a summary of the first 24 days and some of the lessons. And I go deep into my visitors, what I call visitors, their thoughts or thought forms if you're more of a spiritually inclined person. And they've been sort of demonized, like thought forms are this horrible thing that you got to fight and fight and fight. While that may be so when you're younger, you may not have the constitution to be able to tell them to just go away. You may have to kind of slam the door in their faces when you're younger. But after a while, you may realize, and it's not younger age, it's younger. Okay. After a while, you may realize I should be shutting the door on my visitors. I should just let them keep walking. I should speak to them in a different way out of respect of myself and them. Anyway, so here are four questions that I now ask myself almost, I was going to say daily. It's like moment by moment. Okay. And these are what's helping me stay on this journey at this point. There may be more questions later, but let's just get started with these. The first one is, what am I avoiding? Periodically, I come across a day and I'm like, okay, I'm not going out. And maybe it's raining, maybe there's something, I have something I need to get done, I have something I need to submit, and the deadline is today. And I immediately go, I need to do something else. I need to get this done first. I need to get that done first. So the first thing I will ask is, what am I avoiding? And I don't ask why. And I put this on here, it's important. Because why is like a bottomless pit. Okay. And I can ask why later when I'm doing reflections, because then I can go, why is that? And why is that? And I can keep going. But that's a reflection. That's when I've got 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just reflect on something. Fine. Ask why. But when I'm resisting something or when I have a visitor showing up, the first question is, what am I avoiding? And if it's, I just, I'm bored. I don't want to do this again. Uh, Radical honesty will get you out of any rut in life. Radical self honesty. Radical self honesty will get you out of any rut in life. Radical honesty with other people is a whole other video because there's safety involved. But radical honesty with yourself will get you out of any rut you're in. So, what am I avoiding? And if it turns out it's something that I recognize as a real issue, oh, I forgot my hiking stick. I'm going to go into the woods and I forgot to bug spray or, you know, simple. Or it could be something deeper. Oh, I just found out there was cops down the street the other day. I don't want to walk around that area. Okay, what's the next option? Or I found out that that particular park I used to go to, they're fixing some area. It could be something simple as that, or it could be something deeper. I feel tired today. I don't want to go for a walk. Then my next question with myself is, what if you just went for a 5 minute walk or a 10 minute walk, not a 20 minute? Can you do that today? I'm like, of course I can always walk for 5 minutes. I mean, I literally can just do a little bit of this and I get myself out there, and the 5 minutes turns into a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute walk. So Get honest with yourself about what you're avoiding. And is it something that needs your immediate attention because of safety, there's health, there's stuff going on, or is it something that you're using to avoid? Again, radical honesty is key. And if you're not sure how to be radically honest with yourself, that's something you definitely need to develop as a skill set. If you're not radically honest with yourself, I guarantee you the world will do it for you. And they're not as nice as most people. Most people will tell you things they think you should be fixing about yourself in a way that may not necessarily support you. Right? Maybe. All right. The next thing is, what story am I telling myself? This is a really big one. Stories can literally keep us from doing not just caring for ourselves, caring for others, caring for our environment. Stories can make us think we've got every legitimate reason for not doing something. The problem with stories is we believe them. If stories were like something we would just be like, oh, I don't care about this. It's not that important. I want to put this away somewhere. It's not that important. If stories were like, it's not that important, we would just let them go. Often they come in a way that looks like legitimate, rationalized from top to bottom. There is no way that we're going to look at this story and say it's false. That's how they show up. And that's why they're hard to kind of go through. If you can identify the story, oh, I'm too old to start a fitness routine. Um, I am never gonna reach my goal because there's just too many things in my life. These are stories. Um, I'll give you my own personal story. I just uh, actually, what is my story that I use when it comes to movement? Oh, I can't believe I'm here again. And then I start revisiting every time I stopped and, like, or the extent of things I've done. Like, I have some photos of myself when I was younger dancing. I have photos when I was doing fitness stuff. And I'm like, I can't believe you let yourself go. You know, that's one of my stories. I didn't let myself go. I walked myself calmly to the going, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. That's the truth. The truth is, nobody made me let myself go. Nobody, let myself go. But nobody uh, forced me. This was it was decisions I made because I was choosing different pathways that I thought made sense for me at the time. And some of these pathways, I had a ball. Some of them were not so great, but some of these pathways that I chose along the way of, so my story is not a sob story. It's a story of becoming. It's a story of learning. When I'm honest with myself, but when I want to feel bad and just like woe is me kind of thing, yeah, the story can be crazy. Um, the other question, and this is part of what story am I telling myself, is what's stopping me from achieving this goal, this movement journey, this whatever it is I'm trying to do? What's preventing me from doing it? And if I were to allow this thing to win over, this story to win over, where will I be in 60 days? If I allow this story to win over, where am I going to be in 60 days? If I allow this story to win over me, my temple, where will I be in 90 days if I keep telling myself this story? Where will I be in 120 days? A year? 6 years? I guarantee you, if you spend a little bit of time with your story and you allow yourself to dive deep into the story and seeing some of the issues, some of the lies you're telling yourself, and we're telling ourselves, let me say it that way, some of the lies we tell ourselves, you may find that you have got to let go of the story. Okay. Um, and does it align? One of the key things is, does it align with who I'm becoming? And if the story doesn't align, it's literally is your counter self. It's preventing you from becoming who you are becoming. All right. What's the smallest next step? Because once you've given up the story and once you've realize, you have whatever avoidance, it's what's the next step. And the cool thing about what's the next step, and this is something that allows me to give myself permission to do it my way, is take micro baby steps. Yeah, maybe like I would love to run a race. Not run a race because I'm not doing that, but I would love to. I would love to do certain. I would love to be within the spectrum of the fitness level that I know I'm capable of. Okay, for me, it's a spectrum because that's how my body works. I don't know about you, but most people, it's a spectrum. We have great days and we have days where our bodies do a little bit less than we would want it to. The spectrum that my body is in now is not what I'm capable of, and I know that. And I'm not, beating myself up. This is not something that I deal with, but it is an awareness, a truth and honest awareness of I'm not in my spectrum. So what can I do? What baby step can I take that will move me closer to the spectrum that I know that this body, because I know my genetics, I know what I've done for the first 40 years of my life with this body, I know what it's able to get to. Not necessarily a repeat of the past or a repeat of my genetics, but what it can evolve to the more I do the right things for it. So, what baby steps can I take? And I have no issue taking literally a, a small part of a baby step because to me, that's still moving forward. That's still movement. Movement doesn't have to look like giant leaps. Movement doesn't have to look like giant steps. Movements can literally be, you know what? I put my shoes by the door today. I I didn't go for a walk, but I my shoe left the shoe rack and it's now by the door. I put my clothes by my bed or wherever you store your clothes for your next day. Um, I have my key, my shoes, everything lined up. I planned out where I'm going to walk. I checked the environment out. Whatever the thing may be, these could be your baby steps. You could spend a month creating baby steps. And this is for people who may struggle with social anxiety, um, and other things that have nothing to do with movement. It's like, I just don't want to go outside, right? Or people who struggle with pain, real, honest to goodness, this hurts just doing for 3 minutes. Well, walk for 30 seconds. Walk within your apartment, walk within your home, walk within your house, walk within your community, walk within what's those places called? There's malls where you can go and walk within a mall because the ground is a little can be a little rough, but it's it's still better than let's say walking on concrete, right? So find your baby steps. So what's the smallest next step? Not tomorrow, but today. And that small step today could even be I'm going to research and find out online what can I do with someone with my health issues or whatever the thing might be. All right. The next question is, and the last question I believe is, which visitor is here now? I have here today, but it's really which visitor is here now because if you have a monkey mind type of uh, intelligence, you may find yourself thinking all the time. Thoughts come through in your mind all the time, and they need your attention in that moment. In that case, it's like which one is here and you know why. And I caution the why part, but which one is here? And once you find out which one is here, give it a second, 10 seconds. Move it along without judgment. This is what meditation teaches you. And I'm not saying you need to meditate, but meditation teaches you that thoughts visit your mind a lot. For some, not everybody is this way. And when they do, they're not really asking to stay. They're asking for your attention, and you decide how long that is. It could be a second, it could be a millisecond, and it could be 5 days. You could spend 5 days ruminating over something that just you cannot let go. I'll mention client one time. I try not to mention that too much because out of respect. But I've worked with clients where rumination was their biggest downfall. It didn't matter what I said or how I work with them. They would constantly ruminate over the same thing over and over and over and over again. And the clients that had the biggest wins were the ones that were willing to take that thought form and put it on a chair, not make demonize it, not make it a mean thing. Just hold off. Let me do this. This is hard because you keep trying to get my attention, but let me do this, then I'll come back to you. More than likely, that thought form would disappear and then they'd be forget about it. It would show up again when they're addressing the same issue or similar issues, but then it would go away, and then so on and so forth. So, which visitor is here today? Notice, acknowledge it, thank it, ask for it to wait, and return to your practice. Your practice is probably 20, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes. I don't know what your practice is, but whatever your practice is, it is not lifelong. So your thoughts can wait. Your practice is not, let me speak for me. My practice is not, today's practice is not like the old days, 2.5 hours, right? It is a 30-minute practice, daily practice. Everything can wait. Everything can wait. It's 30 minutes. Now, mind you, when you add the 5 minutes to get ready, it's a little bit longer, but it's still a 30-minute practice. Um, so my biggest realization, I think I was going to mention this, and you probably figured it by now. My biggest realization is do not try to uh, shut out the visitors. Don't try to eliminate them because that becomes a project, and it's an endless project. It will never end. If you try to eliminate your visitors, you will spend the rest of your life trying to eliminate your visitors. Instead, it's like they're visiting. They're just stopping by. They're not going to stay unless you invite them to stay. Um, Learn to recognize them sooner. That was the other thing. Now I can spot them pretty quickly. That took years though. And I'm not saying it'll take years for you. Some people are so much faster than I ever imagined possible. But learn to identify them sooner. They may knock, but some of them kind of slip under the door. You don't see them coming. So that's why it's important to learn to identify what they look like. They may even dress a little differently when they visit sometimes. But the more you learn yourself, and I'm not talking about the higher self because that's um, also another level of knowledge, but just your habits and propensities, tendencies. The more you learn that, the more you can see them coming, even before they even get close to your mental door. Um, don't let your visitors run your day. That one is probably the most significant because if a visitor comes in and they stay your entire day, they're not a visitor anymore. They're a guest. And guests need to be entertained, they need to be fed, they need to be, if the guest stays overnight, they need to be housed. If the guest stays over the weekend or strong in for a couple days, they need to place to sleep, they need covers, they need temperature control. So, what's happening with your life when you're attending to this visiting thought? Your life kind of takes the back burner. Or the visitor is now showing up when you're sitting with your family. The visitor is now showing up when you're having a conference call. The visitor is now showing up when you're trying to do something. Now you've got this thing kind of like constantly walking with you. Um, don't let them run your day. Don't let them stay as a guest. Um, and that just means you tell them later. You have to talk to your visitors in that fashion. So, where is this journey going after day 24? It's continuing to be a documenting. It's not documenting exercise, it's documenting a sustained practice and what it takes to sustain a practice and why some practice stay and why some don't. That still remains to be discovered because we're really early in the game. This is not even the touchstone. It's we've got a couple years before we can say we've reached the answer. I would say. Um, I'm very curious about what the next milestone will bring. I think at this point, some of it is predictable, some is not. I can't wait to see what the milestone bring when I start teaching again and I'm there full time. Having the freedom to have a little extra time to work through this is definitely helps. Um, I'm curious to see what the next movement is going to teach me because now it's not just going to be walking. I've added my Pilates and I've also added my I've been doing this, but it's formalized now as my orientation activity, and I call it that. It's a form of yoga. Basically, this is what it would be called if I were to give it that name, but I don't want to use the name yoga because it's not yoga. It's my own movement, based on my own orientations, and it's my own salutations to uh, the many different directions. So I don't know what's going to be. I think I've covered everything. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know how interesting this will get. I think now it still has a bit of a charm and novelty to it. What's going to happen when I start having one of those like horrible days? Like, how am I going to present that? I have no idea. I'll come back and I'll tell you. And so, again, I want to thank you for visiting. I want to thank you for watching this long and staying with me. And please, if there's anything that you think would be helpful, feel free to pass this along so that when I do something like this in the future, I can um, put those considerations into place. Again, thank you for watching. Until the next time, I will see you soon.